So I got into this debate. I got into this debate with this. It's like a page run by a pro-Palestinian Jewish lady. Got kicked out of the Labour Party, and on there's a number of Jewish pro-Palestinian people. What they're doing is they're talking about George Galloway and anti-Semitism, because he apparently wrongly accused Baddiel, some crap comedian on the BBC back in the day, who used to be a bit of a football comedian, I believe. I can't remember his name now, something Baddiel, of being a Zionist, right, and supporting Israel, and apparently Baddiel doesn't support Israel. So Baddiel gets all upset and says, "Oh, you're only accusing me of supporting Israel because I'm a Jew, right?" And then the head of Momentum, which is the party or the group that is backing Corbyn, who is also a Jewish guy, comes up and says, "Yeah, I'm with you, Baddiel. You know, George Galloway is clearly anti-Semitic." So just listen to this for the cheek of these guys, right? And I'll come back to the debate I'm having, right, with this Jewish dude, and then his kind of liberal left or whatever they are friends, right? So first, if I say to a Jewish guy that you're a Zionist and he's not a Zionist, how is that anti-Semitic? How nuts is that? Oh look, there's a tree. Oh, it's not a tree. Oh look, you know, you're anti-Semitic. No, it doesn't work like that. You can't just say something's anti-Semitic because you get something wrong. Oh, Jews died, you know, 5.4 million Jews died, now it's 6 million, you're anti-Semitic. What? Nah, what, hang about? Can you see? So firstly, how does that make sense? 9 out of 10 Jews believe in Israel, right? Therefore, 9 out of 10 Jews, according, not to me, right, according to their own polls, in their own media, right, and we're talking about British Jews here, right, believe in the state of Israel. Therefore, they are Zionists. So if 9 out of 10 Jews believe in Zionism, and I called one of them out wrong, oh, sorry, because guess what? If I had called 9 of you out, 9 times out of 10, I would have been right. So I got one wrong. So it's perfectly rational, isn't it, for people to assume a Jew is Zionist when 90% of them are actually Zionists. It's not 50-50, is it? It's not 60-40, it's 90%. So if I see a Jew and I assume that he is a Zionist, I'm pretty sure statistically to be actually right. So how is that anti-Semitic? That's just a fact. That's like saying 90% of white people, imagine, right? 90% of white people are racist, and one day a black guy meets a white guy and just thinks to himself, he's probably a racist. Is that black guy a racist because one time out of 10, right, the guy actually isn't a racist and he's just an alright guy? That's like going to Germany during the time of Hitler, when most Germans were, you know, members of the Nazi Party or believed in Nazism, and saying, oh, Germans are Nazis. And the one guy, or the 1 in 10 guys, the 10%, you meet that one guy and he says, oh, well, I'm actually not, I was really anti-German. Well, the chances are, most German, you probably were, but I just got this one, you know, sorry, I got it wrong. How is that anti-Semitic? So straight away, people like Baddiel and the head of Momentum are using this term anti-Semitism completely, incorrectly, but B, really the sinister bit is this. Why would someone who claims he's not or he's not pro-Israel, why would he even have an issue with George Galloway getting it wrong? He'd just say, no, actually, I'm not a Zionist. Why has he got to go that extra bit and try to smear George Galloway with this politically weaponized slur that Zionist Jews actually do use of calling someone anti-Semite? Why would you do that? You know, what have you got against George Galloway that you would try to smear him the way other Zionist Jews are? If you're anti-Zionist, if you're anti-Zionist Jew and you're using the same slur as a Zionist Jew, there's something a bit sus, isn't it? you'd be a bit suspicious of this guy, wouldn't you? And what have you got against George Galloway? If you're a Jewish guy and he's speaking up against Palestine and you're pro-Palestinian, surely you would love that guy, right? You'd go, yeah, that guy's on my team. So again, to me, I'm sorry, but I'm suspicious of that guy. I'm suspicious of the whole thing. The whole thing smells wrong, right? I'm not so sure he is anti-Zionist. Just my opinion. But anyway, B, the guy who is backing Corbyn, the millionaire that's backing Corbyn, what a surprise. Again, a Jewish guy who's funding the team behind Corbyn, which may be why Corbyn is so muted about Israel, right? And hasn't really gone after the Blairites within his party. A bit like Lord Levy, again another Jewish guy who funded Blair, right? Again, this guy comes out against George Galloway. Why? If you're a socialist, George Galloway's a socialist, what have you got against George Galloway? And you're a Jewish guy, okay, George Galloway, the only time George Galloway talks about Jewish guys is in the context of Israel or standing up against anti-Semitism. Why would you be so anti-George Galloway? Unless there's something really grating on your nerves in relation to Israel and Palestine. So again, is this Jewish guy who's supporting Corbyn, is he pro-Palestine or not? And why is he coming out against George Galloway? Something's fishy, isn't it? As Muslims, we've got a right to be a bit suspect about that, haven't we? Or do we have to take everyone on face value? Does a black guy have to take anyone who's treating black people badly, right, as a non-racist because he says, no, I'm not racist? Oh, that's it then, because you say that, it must be true. So when you say I'm not Zionist, it must be true because you've just said it. No, hang about. Your actions also kind of indicate what you are and what you aren't. So anyway, going back to this debate with this particular chappie, right? And then they're kind of liberal left friend. What he starts saying is that George Galloway is anti-Semitic and on about this, and I put these same arguments to him, right? And he can't answer any of these particular arguments, but keeps going on about anti-Semitism. So I said, well, hang about. Why don't you just stop worrying about anti-Semitism all the time? Because the actual issue here that you Jews are supposed to be, you're pro-Palestinian Jews, supposed to be interested in, right, is actually Palestine. Your sensitivities, right, about a comedian being accused of being a Zionist isn't really the top of the agenda here, is it? Right? That's not really the most important thing. The Palestinians are actually more important than how you feel, isn't it? It's how they live or if they die. So why are you constantly spending hour after hour talking about anti-Semitism when A, it's not even an issue of anti-Semitism, and B, you're trying to take down a very high-profile pro-Palestinian activist. So surely as a pro-Palestinian Jewish group of Jews, you should just basically realise what's important and what's not and drop this issue. But again, on and on he went. And this again cuts to it. That if these type of pro-Palestinian Jews are the people who are out and out defending the Palestinians and leading the struggle and allowed to have an overly large say in the Palestinian struggle, we're not going to get anywhere because they're so interested in their own sensibilities and their own sensitivity. They're more important than the Palestinian cause. Their outrage about how they feel is more important than Palestine itself. Sorry mate, but every debate about Palestine isn't about anti-Semitism. Yeah? Sorry to burst your bubble about how important you guys are, but Palestine is slightly more important to us, yeah, than how you feel about a flipping comedian, right, being accused of being a Zionist. Maybe you need to shut up about anti-Semitism for once in your lives, right? No one's actually died, yeah? And worry about what you're supposed to be or you're claiming to be interested in, which is actually the Palestinians. I'm outraged at how many pro-Palestinian talks, how many pro-Palestinian conversations just end up in talks about anti-Semitism. Who made you? This isn't about anti-Semitism. Palestine isn't about how Jews feel. Palestine's about Palestinians and how they're living. Maybe you need to get that through your heads, and maybe people need to push back a bit and say to some of these guys, shut up. I'm sorry, but your issue about Jewish feelings and how sensitive you are about every stupid minor point isn't really what's important right now. Stop hijacking every Palestinian issue and turning it into this massive discussion about anti-Semitism. Because what you're doing is you're continuing the occupation and the oppression of these poor people, women and children. Because what you're doing is spending an inordinate amount of time away from what's actually important because of your pathetic snowflake sensibilities. To use a word from the American nutty lexicon. Grow up, grow some thicker skin. You're not the one who's having your children killed. So, just my thoughts on this stupid, pathetic way some of these pro-Palestinian Jews are acting. And my gut feeling is they're not really pro-Palestinian. They're Ziolites. They have more of an interest in their own tribe, their own community, than they'll ever have for the Palestinians. And therefore, they should never be allowed to be a leading voice in the Palestinian struggle. And sadly, Muslims have given them that right, and so have the left, and so have the liberal community. Just my thoughts. Like to hear yours.